history will end with these people dying the way Pharaoh died.
In the annals of history, certain figures rise to power, wielding authority over vast nations, often leaving behind legacies tainted with oppression and cruelty. Among them stands the Pharaoh, the tyrant during the time of Moses, peace be upon him, immortalized in the Holy Qur'an as a symbol of arrogance, disbelief, and brutal oppression. Today, many see echoes of the same tyranny in action of modern leaders. One such comparison that resonates with striking clarity is between the Pharaoh during the time of Moses and Israel's Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu.
فكلكم في شهدين شو هالكتب يا ربي اغفر وارحم شوكة توفيق عابد ابن استشهد شوكة ولاد اختي وولاد اخوي.
The Pharaoh, during the era of Moses, was not just a ruler. He was an oppressor whose kingdom was defined by the suffering and subjugation of the Israelites. The Quran paints a vivid picture of his arrogance, his cruelty, and his blatant defiance of divine signs. His empire was built on the backs of slaves, particularly the children of Israel, whom he subjugated to forced labor, cruelty, and even genocide.
Jewish American artist working in a time-based medium, I must note, I'm accepting this award on the 336th day of Israel's genocide in Gaza and 76th year of occupation.
The Quran states, indeed, Pharaoh exalted himself in the land and made its people into factions, oppressing a sector of them, slaughtering their sons and keeping their females alive. Indeed, he was one of the corruptors. This verse describes the horrific policies of Pharaoh, who ordered the mass killing of male infants in a desperate attempt to maintain his power. His goal was to extinguish any potential threats to his rule, which eventually led to his downfall.
You must remember what Amalek has done to you, says our Holy Bible, and we do remember and we are fighting.
You must remember what Amalek has done to you.
Pharaoh refused to acknowledge the signs of God. His arrogance blinded him, leading him to claim divine status over his people. The Holy Quran states, he, Pharaoh, said, "I am your most exalted Lord." This claim of divinity, combined with his persecution of the Israelites, was met with a series of divine warnings in the form of plagues and miracles. Each sign was ignored, and Pharaoh's arrogance only grew, sealing his fate.
Prime Minister Netanyahu, in his address to the Israeli forces on 28 October 2023, preparing for the invasion of Gaza, urged the soldiers to remember what Amalek has done to you. This refers to the biblical command by God to Saul for the retaliatory destruction of an entire group of people known as the Amalekites, put to death men and women, children and infants, cattle and sheep, camels and donkeys. The genocidal invocation to Amalek was anything but idle. It was repeated by Mr. Netanyahu in a letter to the Israeli armed forces on 3 November 2023. Madam President, let the Prime Minister's words speak for themselves.
Netanyahu's policies, much like Pharaoh's, are oppressive, especially towards the Palestinian people. The expansion of settlements, military campaigns, and harsh restrictions imposed on Palestinians in Gaza and the West Bank evoke images of domination and subjugation that mirror the cruelty of Pharaoh's reign. The Holy Quran states, "And we made them leaders inviting to the fire, and on the day of resurrection they will not be helped. This verse speaks of how those who lead others towards oppression and tyranny are ultimately leading them towards destruction. Pharaoh pursued the path of oppression until he met his end in the Red Sea, drowned along with his army as they pursued the fleeing Israelites. His arrogance led him to believe that his power was unshakable, but divine justice proved otherwise. This story is a powerful reminder that no amount of earthly power can defy the will of God. The cruelty that Netanyahu's policies have unleashed upon the Palestinians will not go unnoticed. Every tear shed, every innocent life lost, every act of oppression is a warning from God. Just as Pharaoh couldn't escape his fate, Netanyahu and all who follow the path of oppression will not succeed in their tyranny.
So when the Zionist movement was created, at the same time when the body of Pharaoh was discovered, it was a sign to the world that there will be a reenactment on the stage of the world of the historic encounter between Pharaoh and Musa, alayhi salam, between falsehood and truth. Musa didn't have any aircraft and tanks and machine guns and so on. No. Pharaoh had all the weapons. But Musa had the truth. And so history is going to end with the people who have the truth, with nothing except stones in their hands. What a beautiful way. What an absolutely beautiful way for history to end. That those who have the truth, they have only the stone in their hand that Nabi Dawood alayhi salam had. And those who follow the path of Pharaoh, they have all the weapons. They are arrogant, they are proud, they are ruling the world. But Allah is saying, when this body is discovered, this is the last countdown of history. And history will end with these people dying the way Pharaoh died. That's the answer to your question.
Thanks for listening to the Independent Islamic Republic. Assalamu alaikum.